winning. New Yorkers have been voting with their feet for years. Over 100,000 of us leave every single year. Over 1 million in the last 8 years, gone. If I was a CEO and I lost 100,000 customers every single year for 8 years, wow, what a terrible CEO I would be. I will judge my first term by one important number. Are over 100,000 New Yorkers still leaving this state? If they are, I failed. If they're not, I'm winning. Everything I talk about is geared towards people being happy. That's what it's geared towards. If you're happy, I'm winning. Because if you're happy, guess what? You stay. If you're happy, you grow your business here. If you're happy, you raise your family here. If you're happy, you retire here. And here's the thing that's hurting us too. We have a lot of people who retire, take their pension, and spend it someplace else. We are paying for those pensions now, and those pensions are going to Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Arizona. We're paying the other states. Governor Rick Scott of Florida actually teased Cuomo and said, "Thank you so much, because you're a part of my economy. The taxes your people are paying to pay for those pensions are going to our small towns." And whose fault is that? That's our fault. We have a state that is not happy and conducive to people retiring or staying. I want you to take your pension when you retire and spend it here. In my perfect world, you raise your family here, you retire here with a nice pension, you take that pension and you start a business here in your local town. That's my home run. I want that to be the norm. I want that to be happening in every single town in New York State. That happens win, win, win. Nothing but win. Right now we have our youth being educated and leaving. We have people retiring and leaving. People come back to New York not because it's great, they come back because of family. Because this state is so broken, the taxation, the government oppression, along with the lack of opportunity, make sure that we actually break up families. Families are broken up because this state's so bad. But people love New York. We love New York, we just hate the government. Yes, it's true. We love New York, we just hate the government. I do too. So why is a guy like me running? It's selfish. I don't want to move. I don't want to move. When I was a little kid, I traveled all throughout New York. I'm 50. So in the 70s, I traveled, right? You can tell. Total stereotype. My parents actually had, believe it or not, a station wagon. I know. You know it, right? Total stereotype. Had a stereotype. And we went all around upstate, from Niagara Falls to Bear Mountain, all over. And I came out of the Bronx. I was living in the Bronx at the time. We get in the car and drive on up all the time. But for about 20 years, I hardly ever came upstate. I spent almost all my time in the city trying to make money, trying to build my family. I spent very little time outside New York City. But then 2012 came. So when Gary Johnson was running for president the first time. And I came back upstate to start campaigning for him. Then I started caring again. I fell back in love with the state that I had fell in love with as a kid. 2016, I was up here again. 2014, I was up here again doing the gubernatorial elections back then. But at that point, it was Michael McDermott, those of you may know. Back then, 2016, I was here with Gary Johnson and Alex Merced. 2017, up again with Andrew Hollister. And 2018, now it's me. I was actually one of those people in North Carolina saying, I want to buy some property down here. But it was so good in North Carolina that I got mad. It was so good I got mad. So I could sell my house in Queens and get a mansion in North Carolina and pay less taxes. What? I'm mad. Why am I going to leave my state? Why am I going to leave my friends, my family, my business? Why am I going to lose my customers? I'm born in this state. I'm raised in this state. Why would I leave? I'm not. I'm fighting. So I'm running. I'm running to make real change. I'm running to give us a real opportunity to make change. Because if you are a Democrat, here is your option to repair New York. Done. If you are a Republican, here is your option to change New York. Done. There is nothing. For the past 16 years, Democrats have run this state. 16 years. If they were going to fix it, they would have. For the past 16 years, Republicans have watched Democrats run this state. If they were going to fix it, they would have had a plan. They would have had a movement. One thing attacks it all the time is, Larry, you've been doing this for a year. Where were you 8 years ago? Where were you all these times ago? I wasn't in charge. I was running my family and business. I wasn't a public servant. It wasn't my job to fix this thing. It was your job to fix this thing, not mine. I've been doing this 1 year. And in 1 year, I have a plan and I have a movement. What's their excuse? What's their excuse? But I'll go one step further. The two people running, Democrat and Republican, both of them, they're public servants now. They're taking your tax dollars now to run a campaign. I'm not. I'm a business owner. If I'm not in front of customers, I'm losing money. I'm here, I can't market. I don't get a salary. So that means last year I lost over 50% of my income doing this. This year I will lose over 75% of my income doing this. I have a wife who does not work, 2 kids. I live in New York City. You can imagine my bills. Don't feel sorry for me. I knew what I was doing when I got into this. I say this for one reason only. I'm serious. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't serious. And everything I've done, how many of you here have met me, somehow got involved with me because of social media? Yep. How many do podcasts? Yep. There we go. Exactly right. I'm the guy doing this. This is an underground movement because I don't have the $30 million that His Majesty has. But you know what I have? I have movement. If you look at all my events, and I do them all online and all live, and I never have notes and I never have rules. I show up and what happens? You get young, old, Democrat, Republican, Independent, all types of people show up to my events no matter where I am. Look at the age ranges here. I got kids here and a couple of you are probably over 60. So yeah, so I've got every single range of people here. Try to find that at a Cuomo, oh, you can't find a Cuomo rally, sorry. Try to find that at a Republican rally. You can't. You can't. Republican rally is every one of the diehard Republicans who are over 40. That's it. You can't find anybody else. I draw people who are young, old, middle, it doesn't matter. I'll ask, is anybody here feel comfortable telling me if they are a registered Democrat? Anybody? There we go. Anybody here registered Republican? Yep. Anybody registered other than those two? Yep. Anybody here has not voted in at least the last 2 election cycles? Yeah. Not you guys don't count, you're too young. Yes. Yes. But here's what you just saw. You just saw in this room, in North Country, in this room, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and those who don't vote. You just saw all 4 in this room. Now, I didn't know who was in this room. I gambled. I do it all the time. And every time I do it, I get the same results. I am the only candidate who draws all 4. The only one. That's how we win. This is a winnable race. It's a 5-way race, which means 30% can win this thing. I'm the only guy who does what you just saw. The attacks I get all the time on me is, Larry, you know what? I'm a Republican. I can't vote for you because you're splitting the vote. Here all the time. You're splitting the vote. Splitting the vote. Republican might win. If you're a Republican, I'll ask you a very important question. Why do you think this year you can win in a statewide election when you haven't won a statewide election in 16 years? Not governor, not lieutenant governor, not AG, not controller, not senator, nada, 0 in 16 years. And this is the year? Guys, stop. The Republican sacrificial lamb cannot win this election. Half of you don't even know who he is. Is there anybody here who is a Republican who does not know who your nominee is? Thank you. Who? Yes. Many of you heard of me before him. Some of you still don't know who he is. And you know who I am. And he's going to win? Stop. That's a fantasy. But I don't say his name. If I say his name, then you'll know. I don't want you to know. You shouldn't know his name. Yeah, I want you to know his name. Yes. He who will not be named. Yes, that's correct. I will call him the sacrificial lamb or the placeholder. That's what he is. So it's not going to happen. That person's not going to win. There's no splitting the vote. And the sad part is the Republican establishment has proven itself just as corrupt as Democratic establishment by saying you need to vote for that person. If you're a Republican, where was your primary? You didn't get one, did you? No. You got 2 hand-picked downstate liberals to be your people. Shut up and vote. That's what you got. Your establishment told you that. How do I know you're unhappy? Because you're here. And everywhere I go, I see you. I know you're unhappy. But Democrats are unhappy too. They don't like Cuomo. They know he's corrupt. That's why you're here too, because they know he's corrupt. This is the year that we have a shot at victory. We can actually win this thing. They'll tell you we can't. That's not true. The Republican has said, I have a plan. Just said it recently. You heard this? 30% reduction of tax. You hear that? That's a new one, 30%. Are you insulted?
Yes.
You should be. You should be. So he's been in public office for 22 years, and yesterday they figured out, you know what you do? 30% tax rate. That's what I'll do. I'll drop tax by 30%. I'll drop property tax by 30%. That's his plan. He said that last week. Why didn't you say that last year? 5 years ago? 10 years ago? 3 months ago? It took you 22 years to figure out we should drop property tax 30%. But let me ask you one more thing. How? Magic? If your number is random, make it 100% and I'll drop out. Make it 100%. I'll drop out and endorse you. Done. Make it 100%. It's a random number that he created that he would hope would fool you. You should be embarrassed. You should be insulted by that. If someone could actually just drop your property tax 30%, why haven't they done it already? It's a critical question. If anybody could, if anyone could just go 30% drop, why wouldn't they do it already? That would have been my plan off the bat if I could do that. It's impossible. It's an insult. It's a desperate grab. You should be embarrassed and insulted by that. Why in the world would you, as a Republican, reward that bad behavior? Why would you do that? If you're a Democrat, you see how he bamboozled Cynthia Nixon? If you're a Democrat, you see how corrupt he is in everything he does? Has he ever come up here to see you in any way, shape, or form? No. His Majesty does not care about his serfs. His Majesty feels your loyalty is owed to him. In every way, shape, or form, he shows it. Why would you reward that bad behavior? I'm asking you, as Democrat or as Republican, why in the world would you reward that bad behavior? But wouldn't you rather have someone who's coming up here, talking to you from the heart, answering your questions with a real plan, showing up when he says he's going to show up, caring about what you feel? Why wouldn't you reward that behavior so that maybe others would follow and copy? That's why I'm here. This is a winnable race. We can win this thing. We can make real impact. But maybe I'm wrong. You told me, you said, maybe next time, you said, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I can't win. Okay. If the Republican comes in second, what changes? Nothing. What if I come in second? Still changes. Because the microphone in my face every day saying, Larry Sharpe, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? You know what I'll talk about? All the things that I talked about that you cared about. I wanted to talk about how to support the Second Amendment. I want to talk about how to support small business, how to fix education, how to deal with taxation, how to have more opportunity in the states. Everything I talk about with you keeps going on and on and on. And hopefully they'll take it. If not, the next people will take it. If not, legislators will take it. Someone will take it. Those of you, some of you saw my interview on Joe Rogan, right? The end of that interview, Joe Rogan was teasing me. He said, Larry, your ideas are great. Remember that? He goes, you got to lock those ideas down. I said, no. He goes, no, someone's going to steal them. What did I say? Take them. Go for it. Take them all. My goal is happy New Yorkers. Happy New Yorkers means a better New York. A better New York means I don't have to move. A better New York means none of you want to move. A better New York means all of you get your family and friends and they feel jealous and they come back. That's what I want. I want that to happen. We can make it happen if we actually believe, if we actually vote gold in 2018, this year, November 6th, we can actually make change and we can make a new New York. Thank you. So I could sit here and yap for 4 hours, and I have before, but I won't. Instead, I want to know what you want to talk about, and I want to be happy. I will take any questions. I have no rules. If you're mad at me, if you think I'm wrong or something's bad, tell me. If you have a question or comment, please tell me. I'm happy to have it. If you want to ask me a question, any question, personal or whatever, I don't mind, I'll answer. And if I don't want to answer it, I'll tell you I don't want to answer it. So it's fine, but I will do it either way. Go ahead.
I'm asking on beyond about 23,000 people want to know. What are your feelings on the tip wage credit?
Yes, two things. Number one, why in the world should a governor specifically, but any government, tell an employer how he should pay his employees? Now, I'm not necessarily against the idea of not having tips in your individual store or establishment, but that's not up to me. That's up to the individual store or restaurant owner. If they want to go that way, they may if they want to. But the actual idea of in any way, shape, or form hurting people who are tipped is a terrible idea. I'm 100% against it. It is a bad idea, and I will make sure it does not happen when I'm governor. The issue is there are many people, and I know, my mom was a waitress, right? The advantage I have in this case is I grew up in a poor neighborhood. My dad was a corrections officer at Rikers Island. Is that a good thing? Yeah, all right. Yay, corrections officers. All right, yeah. All right. Yeah, oh, there we go. Awesome, yes. So my dad was a corrections officer, and my mom was a waitress and worked in a bank. Neither of them were educated, so I understand. My mom actually helped us, many times, as part-time and full-time. She put food on the table, and a lot of it was tips. A lot of it was tips. So I get it. I understand it. Why in the world would I stand in the way of someone who wants to work that way? I'm 100% against it. It won't happen when I'm governor. Is that